Welcome back to The Making of. I'm your host, Jack Pitts, and this is episode number 3. The Making of is a show about how real businesses actually get built, the behind the scenes and the day-to-day. Today, I'm sitting down with Doug Taylor, who most people know as the Candyman. Doug started Taylor's Candy in Chicago with his dad as a small candy distributor, and over the years, they turned it into a family-run operation that now manufactures, rebags, does private label, and distributes candy all across North America. This is also the first interview I've done in person, and we get into the day-to-day work that doesn't usually get talked about, the operations, the grind, and what it really takes to keep a business like this running. Doug's story is about sticking with it, learning the business from the ground up, and building something that lasts. Let's get into it.
How are you doing, Mr. Taylor?
I'm doing good, Jack.
Good to see you.
Pleasure to have you back as an adult.
Yeah, I'm back in Chicago. Happy, but really appreciate you doing this. We're in the Taylor's Candy World headquarters.
Yeah, world.
Hey, all throughout North America.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, really appreciate you doing this with me.
Not a problem.
It's awesome, but would love kind of just learning on your background, where you grew up, kind of some odd jobs you had growing up.
How far back?
Literally whenever you want. Good. Like where'd you grow up in Chicago?
Southsiders. Grew up in a little town called Burnham, right next to Hammond, Indiana.
Okay.
Folks moved out there in the early 70s. Small little neighborhood, kind of secluded. Couldn't get to the other parts of the town because there were busy streets and stuff like that. So we had a 5-6 block area that we grew up in. But most of my friends from school were on the other side of town, which I couldn't get to during the summer. So I didn't really see them in those days, or at least in the summer.
What was it like growing up over there?
Oh, it was nice. Quiet. We had creeks we can go run to. Just rode our bikes everywhere. A typical suburban childhood, I guess.
Yeah. That's where the golf course is, right?
There is a golf course in Burnham.
Harborside, right? Or no?
That's farther north,
Okay.
I believe. Yeah, farther north. That's in the city.
Cool.
But yeah, small suburban town.
Yeah, nice. And so grew up high school. What was kind of like that in the 80s? Like what were any cool
My
jobs?
school was so small. Going to the high school was.
What high school did you go to?
I started out at TF North, Thornton Fractional North.
Oh, okay.
Which was in Calumet City. 3 years. Most of my friends were at a different high school. So senior year, my folks let us transfer to a different high school.
Why? How did you?
My first high school, all the kids I grew up with got into drugs and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And just wasn't my scene.
Yeah.
And all these other friends I had met through various ways were at a different high school. So my parents were able to use my grandpa's address to sneak us into a different high school.
Hey.
Can't do that as easily anymore.
Hey, whatever works, But
I had...
Any jobs? Any good jobs?
I was probably the last generation to actually deliver newspapers house to house.
Wow.
Until I got was old enough to get a regular job at McDonald's.
Oh, wow. You worked at McDonald's.
McDonald's.
How was it? I mean, obviously now it's like, all processed and everything.
It was still somewhat processed then, but it was fun. All my friends were there. It was a good enough job.
Did you have your own paper route, or
we had our own paper route. My brother and I, we did our whole little section of town for 6th grade till I was 16.
Wow.
So yeah, we started working right away. Even before that, though, we would set up toy stands and sell our used toys, or go pick cattails out for fireworks season. The punks.
Yeah.
We used to do that. So yeah, we were always working. That's cool. Working, and then. Got another job at a retail store that doesn't exist anymore, and then a gas station. And the gas station was a small family business. And then once I got the taste of that, I'm like...
Was it your family?
No. It's just some guy who owned a couple of gas stations in the neighborhood. My brother was already there, and then I was able to get in after that. And that was my first taste of working for a family business.
What drew you to that? I feel like a lot of people
just small... I don't know, it's hard to describe. A little more freedom to do what we thought was right. I mean, we kind of took ownership of the place and tried to make it better, clean it up. It was just an old school gas station where they're actually fixing cars and doing oil changes. I was the last generation to pump gas too, probably, So,
yeah. I could never imagine pumping gas.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
So that was kind of end of high school?
High school, after high school, a year or so after high school.
Nice. What were your plans? I feel like obviously nowadays it's you got to go to college, but was that ever on your radar?
It wasn't. I wasn't really into school that much.
Really?
I hopped around to 3 different colleges after high school.
Where'd
So
you go?
I wanted to get in the music industry.
Okay.
So I went to Columbia.
Okay.
Downtown for a year. Didn't blend well with me. The way the program was and the guy who ran the program. So second semester I switched over to business stuff at the same school. Then after that I was like, okay, I went to a different junior college, and then I went to a different junior college, and I was done.
Yeah.
It wasn't not for me.
And like while you're in college, trying to do a band or
A little bit off and on, but I just got more into working because then after I left the gas station, there was a liquor store. There was a liquor store in the city that my father was a customer of my father's, and he had mentioned about possibly going into partnership at this store. So I'm like, well, I'll go work there and learn the business while you're before you move in, get into it, and then while I'm still kind of going to school. So I part-time went to school and then full-time worked at the liquor store.
How was that as an experience?
It was different. It was very different. It was a different neighborhood altogether, but just learning how it's a different life over there.
Where was
but I
that?
didn't know from I knew from retail because I worked at the department store and I worked at the gas station, but it was a small family business. It was owned by a great father and son that I was really tight with for about 3 years.
How was that dynamic? Coming in as an outsider to the family business.
It was welcoming. I knew my role, and I was a hard worker. So we kept that place clean and stocked, and I was working the lottery machine. Anything that being in a family business, you got to learn how to do a lot of different things, or be willing to do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So I put a lot of hours in there, a lot until my father showed up.
Did you ever kind of have a, hey, I know your dad was like, he's going to get into this business, but did you ever have a plan of like, I'm going to be here for 2 years? I feel like a lot of kids nowadays is like, I'm going to do this for 2 years and then go to the future.
No, I was banking on staying there, figuring I'd be, help grow that business and maybe open up more stores at some point. I don't know. I didn't know where the future went until my dad got in there because my dad came from the wholesale business, a company called E.B. Brown. So he was their supplier of their tobacco and candies and toiletries, anything they sold in this particular store, groceries. So that's how he came across that customer and that guy he became really good friends with. But then he wasn't even there a year and he didn't like it.
Really?
He was a salesman at heart.
Really?
So coming off the street was, I think, a bit of a shock for him.
Yeah.
And then it was different. You didn't have the freedom of being out there selling and seeing other people. You're just stuck in this one building for 8 to 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Working behind a counter.
Yeah, I bet you got some interesting stories.
There's a few. There's more than a few.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So you're working there. Your dad joins kind of the liquor store with them, and you're what, 23?
Oh no, I was like 19.
Oh, 19. Wow.
I was 20ish, about 20ish when he popped in there.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was there for a couple years before he got in, and then there was one night. He's like, this isn't working out. And the whole family had moved out to a big house in Homer Glen.
Wow.
So I still had brother and sister in school.
Wow.
Elementary and junior high at the time. Mm-hmm. And he's like, we got to get out of here. He didn't like it anymore. And he had introduced us to another candy, a bagged candy called Sathers out of Minnesota. It was a $2 for $1 line of bagged candies.
Okay.
And he had brought it into that store sold it in to him, and it was selling like crazy. Crazy. Couldn't keep it in stock. And we're there working one night, getting ready to close up. I'm like, well, why don't we go sell that stuff on the street? Because he came from being a wholesaler. He already had a network of customers in Chicago, all around the south and west sides and the south suburbs. So that's where the idea came from, was standing in that liquor store one night, and let's go do this.
Wow, that's super cool. And so you're like 19 now at this time.
I'm 20.
20.
Yeah, 20 at that time, yeah.
20, and your dad's like, we're going to kind of sell these on our own. I see an opportunity, and that's kind of how, was it Taylor's Candy at the time?
No,
what came from there?
It was Douglas Distributors, because my father had a wholesale business in the 70s called Douglas Sales over in Mount Greenwood, Illinois, or Mount Greenwood, Chicago, I'm sorry. But we sat in a restaurant a couple miles from here and wrote down our business plan, which was basically a list of all the supplies we needed to get going. I still have that. I think it's in my desk. It's an old spiral notebook, just like, okay, we need a calculator, we need hand trucks, and we need this, that, and the other thing, and then find a place to rent to get started. Yeah,
that's incredible. And I mean, you're 20. It's like, you don't know anything.
Yeah, I knew how to work hard.
Yeah,
and I kind of knew what we needed to get a warehouse set up and running, just from being in the retail end of, stuff like that.
That's super cool. So you guys started out. You're 20. Like, how do you even go about like figuring that out? You got the napkin of the supplies you need and everything. Like, what do you even do next?
My grandfather was in the drapery business, and he was looking for a space also. So he was able to find us a space we can co-share where he can use the front end to make his draperies, like a workroom for him and a showroom, and then we were able to use the back warehouse space, and that was about a mile from where we're at right now in Elsip here.
Wow.
So yeah, he found that space for us. My dad traded in his old Pontiac so we could get a van.
Wow.
He borrowed $25,000 against the house.
Wow.
For some seed money, and I had a measly $1,000 I pulled out of the bank to put towards it initially. And the first thing I had to do was to get approved for occupancy. I had to go buy fire extinguishers with my measly input of money into this business. I'm like, God, that's not going to make us any money, spending $80 on fire extinguishers. But that's how we got started.
Wow.
Financially was with that money.
That's crazy. Just to think, borrowing against the house, probably had a good job making good money, decided to...
I'm not sure what my mom thought about my dad borrowing against the house. I wasn't part of those conversations.
Yeah. I mean, was your dad kind of always like an entrepreneur? I know you said
he was a go-getter. He was a salesman. He was the best at his company for the longest time. I remember driving out there as kids. He won plenty of awards for being the best in sales for that particular company, and he was well liked. He was well liked out in the streets and with the independent store owners.
Nice.
Very well liked.
Nice. So now you guys kind of, getting the business started a mile from where we are currently. Mm-hmm. Like, what did you like? How'd you even go about it? Obviously, your dad's probably running the shop. He's obviously
the foundation was his experience in the city and his connections and his ability to sell. That was the foundation of everything, and then I was just the hard work in the background, and then some family and stuff too helped. A lot of family help in the beginning. We found the products. He already had connections in the industry, so we were buying outside of the Sailors, which we didn't have an office yet. Their sales rep met us at the same restaurant. We put our business plan together, and like, this is what we're going to do. This is what we want to do.
Yeah.
So we can get them set up as a supplier. But my dad already had connections in other parts of the industry, like with Tops and David Sunflower Seeds and what like that. So we were just starting to compile all these other items we wanted to start selling.
Awesome. That's so interesting, and now you guys are up and running. You have products. You have the connections. Like, you're kind of just being his right-hand man, just doing whatever. Like, did you ever, foresee where it's like, I don't want to do this, or you're like, hey, this is kind of my only route? Like,
that was a few years later. That was a few years later, over some different issues that happens in family businesses. Yeah, that was 5 years later, roughly.
Yeah.
I had took a trip to go find myself across the country. Wasn't sure if I was going to do this anymore.
Yeah, I mean...
But I did.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Still here today. Beautiful building we're in. But, okay, so now it's early days. Like, how was that? Like, getting out, but building credibility,
It was... I had nothing else to do. All my friends were away at college.
Yeah.
So I could work 7 days a week. It didn't matter to me. It was my only goal then was just work. I mean, to the point where I remember when we go into a Sox game with all my high school friends, all my friends, and my brother Greg, who's part of the business, and all we're doing is talking shop while we're trying to watch a baseball game. And my friends were like, quit talking shop, enjoy the game with us, So it took a while to get away from the mentality of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're putting in 6-7 days a week, definitely 6 days a week, and Sundays we would have to come in and receive deliveries of one of the Sailors line. We had to come in on Sundays. After dinner, we'd meet the trucker here and get our load, and then be ready to go first thing. But we were working 2 jobs at that time when we first started. So we would hit the streets when we were living way out in Will County.
Oh, wow.
So we'd have to hit the streets early, go pick up accounts, go service our accounts.
And that's at the liquor store?
No, for the candy.
Oh, for the
Would,
candy.
Yeah,
okay,
we'd go
okay.
service all our candy accounts and then go put in another 7, 8, 9 hours at the liquor store.
Oh, wow.
So we were doing second shift at the liquor store. We would actually drive 2 cars around the city, or a van filled with all the product into my car so I can go to work after that. And then my dad would start later than me. He put in a longer day because he would probably get to the liquor store an hour or 2 after me and then have to close. And then I would take the van from the liquor store, go load it up so it'd be ready for the next morning. So he'd probably work till about midnight, and I'd work till like 10 and go load the van up at the warehouse, which is out here in Alsip. But the liquor store was in the city.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was a good 6 months of that, working both jobs until we had enough business where my dad could support the house. It wasn't about, I didn't need any income.
Yeah.
But we still had younger brother and sister and, a house to,
Mortgage to be paid.
Yeah,
and all of that.
Yeah.
Like a life to live. And so, wow, so that's super interesting. I never knew that. And I guess that must have been a grind for those 6 months.
It was. And then he left before I did from the liquor store to keep doing that, and I stayed on for a month or 2 later. I don't know how or why that worked out, but I left there a couple months after he did.
So then after that, you kind of went all in on...
My brother Greg by that time
Greg's
came
younger
in.
than you?
He's younger than me. I'm the oldest of 3. There's myself, Greg, and then Ken, who's 4 years younger than me.
Okay.
But yeah, Greg came on around that time because there was a recession in the early 90s, and he was in the construction trades. He was a carpenter's apprentice.
Okay.
And things slowed down during like the first Gulf War, and then work was running out, so he came to work with us.
Awesome.
And then we had 1 employee at the time, I think.
So it was just kind of, and you right then and there, you guys are kind of doing just distribution of
Just
other
distribution,
products.
other people's products. Yeah, we're not packaging anything ourselves. We're not manufacturing anything. We were just bringing in various items and then distributing them. Mostly at that time through small independent grocery stores, liquor stores, and gas stations and dollar stores. Nothing really corporate at the time.
Cool.
Yeah.
What did you learn those early days?
I don't know, various things. City's a different environment, and I grew up in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Different needs and different markets.
Yeah.
For all the different stuff we did carry, and that's evolved over the years too. And we had to learn everything because we never ran a business before. I had to learn about the insurance. I had to learn about HR. Little things, not the whole. Jack of kind of a jack of all trades type thing.
Yeah.
So we had to learn as we went. A lot of things.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like you said, I know in the last episode, Gary, the one you were listening to, he's like, I never wanted to do like an ERP or like HR. Like no one wants to do that.
Yeah.
Someone's got to. It's part of the business, and that's just you got to be well run and making sure your products to the customers. So okay, cool. And now, so Greg's joined. Your dad. You have 1 other employee.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys grow that?
It was growing like wildfire in those early days because we had such a unique product line. We were bringing on more people and more trucks. We outgrew that first warehouse space in about a year.
Wow.
About a year.
Okay.
I think we were running 2 or 3 trucks out of there at one point. And then, we had to find a bigger space, which was a few more miles away. An old factory we took a small chunk of to rent out. And brought on more people. That's why I'm like, we were not just 1 salesperson, we have 2. Well, I should take that back. Initially, when we started, we were filling the van up and pulling from the van. Okay. So we drive around, go see these accounts, pull the 10, 20, 30 cases off the van, fill up and then move on to the next one. Mm-hmm. But we started carrying more product. It wouldn't fit. So we went from pulling off the truck system to a pre-sale system. So that we had a sales rep going out, writing all the orders. We'd assemble all the orders and then ship them out in the truck the next day. Because the product line expanded too much.
What did you guys get into more?
Novelty candies, blow pops, bubble gums, pickles, sunflower seeds, stuff like that.
Love that.
We're just distributing it.
Cool. Awesome. So now it's like mid-90s. You know what? Taylor's Candy was founded in 1990, right?
1990. We just had our 35th anniversary like 2 months ago.
Awesome.
Month and a half ago,
Awesome.
November.
Awesome.
35 years.
Cool. That's great. And I guess so. Like as you guys are growing too, like what is your role? You know, you're still what 23, 24 at this time. Like you have like full-time employees. Like
I was on the streets a lot. I was delivering, training all our drivers, and did some sales. Okay. So that was always been my role. I've been on the warehouse and delivery end of everything, and or the sales part, not the manufacturing end, which we've evolved into. But right about that 92, 93 era, our competition started moving into what we were doing, which is the 2 for $1 candy business. They weren't at that level when we came in. Everybody was like 89 cents for this bag, 69 cents for that bag, various price points.
Yeah.
We brought it all into one price point. So there was other competition out there who was actually packaging or manufacturing their own products. So they got into our space. So I'm like, oh, well, we can't compete price-wise with that because we're buying someone else's product and distributing it. So my father had a customer in the city who was looking to get out, who needed to get out of his store because the neighborhood was getting voted dry. The store had been there since like his father had it like in the 40s or something like that. So that was the seed money for us to get the machine so we could start bagging our own candy. I actually still have that machine in the warehouse across the street.
you got it right.
It's
memorable.
Yeah, but yeah, my dad and our partner and I don't know who else hunted this machine down for us to start simply bagging candy for ourselves.
Wow, that's super cool. And what products did you start?
It's the typical stuff: peppermints, gummies, jellies like orange slices, hard candy, stuff like that. At a 2 for $1 price point.
I love it.
I think I still have some of those bags downstairs too.
And are you guys still?
Actually, I have one right over here.
Let's see it. Oh, nice.
Here's an early version.
That's so cool.
Yeah. That one didn't sell very well. It was like a knockoff of Jolly Ranchers.
Oh wow, this is awesome.
Made by a Chicago company.
That's super cool. Product of Argentina.
Yeah. Oh well, I think they probably outsourced it then.
That's super cool.
But at the time, I mean, Chicago was the candy capital of the world, so
Wow.
we were able to source everything from here easily.
Wow.
Easily.
Well, how is it the candy capital of the world? Just
It just evolved that way from 100 years ago or so.
Wow.
The Brox, Ferrara.
Is
There
Mars?
was another. Mars was
Wrigley.
here. Wrigley was here, and plus all the independents, the smaller independents. Primrose, which is no longer with us anymore. There's a handful of other ones.
Interesting. So are you guys still like Doug's distributor?
Douglas. Oh, at that time, when we brought the partner in, we created 2 companies. So I went from owning a half of our small little company to owning a quarter of one of the 2 companies. So we created Taylor's Candy, and we had Douglas Distributors. So we had the bagging end of the business, the packaging end, and then we had the distribution end, which is what I oversaw. So, and then we brought that partner in, which got us into bagging our own product and opened up other opportunities since we're packaging and we could do other people's brands.
Interesting.
Our partner was with us for about, 3, 4, 5 years. But he had younger kids. He didn't have the same drive as us, I think it was more of a job for him.
Yeah.
Because he had younger kids who were really big into wrestling, so they're traveling a lot. And then we were just 3 kids living at home. All we had to do was work 6 days a week.
Yeah.
So that marriage only lasted a few years, but it got us started by him bringing in that money and then us buying him out a few years later to get us on the road to doing more packaging and creating our own brands.
Interesting.
All out of our other facility, our second facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not in the building we're in today, right?
No. This is a few miles away in Blue Island, Illinois.
Oh, makes sense.
This building we're in now, we moved in 04.
Oh, 04.
Yeah,
So.
we found this building in 04.
Cool. So it's 93 now. You just maybe like 96 at this point. You just bought them out. I'm guessing you guys kind of have a couple more employees, drivers.
Oh yeah, we at that point we probably had 6 trucks.
Wow.
And we had evolved into a newer, better machine at that point.
Okay.
Much more efficient machine, but we were a really old building and outgrowing that space too. Because at that point, we started doing some private label work, which was new for us, and it was bigger. So we were running out of space.
Interesting.
But I mean, we made it work. We found other space in this building to store stuff, but all the distribution and packaging was all done in the initial space
Yeah.
of this particular building.
Cool. And I would just love to hear like expanding your private, like obviously you said you got into private label and like, you know, expanding your product offerings to your, you know, customers, like what they want. How do you go about that?
Well,
you ask them for feedback? Like I genuinely don't know.
We in the early days we were just creating products and pushing it out there.
Yeah.
You know, like let's make this and we'll try and get everybody to buy it. Later on, in the private label end, it became people like, well, this is what we want out of you. So on my brother's end would put together all the programs for whatever private label we were doing. You know, but we still did make our own goods. We were bagging things with toys. We made Easter baskets, Christmas stockings.
Wow.
You know, that was how our industry was. That when we got into it, all these little independents like us, we were doing that at the C-store, convenience store level, supermarket, you know, smaller level, not at the national level. So we did a lot of that. My father would just source all these little different things. We'd assemble it, and here you have this little Valentine's coffee mug with candy in it, and suckers and stuff like that.
I love it.
So we did a lot of that.
Yeah, it's just
But not everything was a hit.
yeah.
Had some duds in there.
Any notable bad ones?
We first started bagging our own salted and roasted peanuts.
Okay.
And we put the packaging up to a vote to all the employees, and we all picked this one. And it bombed. The packaging just didn't hit.
Really?
Didn't hit well. We're still in that space, but we just updated our packaging.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like packaging is super important.
Yeah. And that
customers.
evolves too. That evolves.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you guys are growing a bunch now. You're mid 90s. You're still distribution side of things like.
We at that point we started getting more into larger stores because of the people we brought on, salespeople who had different connections to different chains.
Cool.
A gentleman my father used to work with, who I'm still friends with to this day. He actually called me the other day. He's retired from us years ago. We brought him on, and he got us into Walgreens. He got us into like Jewel locally.
Yeah.
So he got us to a different level to service corporate accounts, which we weren't used to because it was all independents.
Yeah, like mom and pops.
Yeah.
I know Ethan.
And we brought another salesman on from another company. He got us big into the chains in Northwest Indiana. So we brought in some of the right people that had us in the door for some of these other accounts that were able to help us grow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm reading Good to Great by Jim Collins right now.
Okay.
It's like an entrepreneur book, and they're like, having the right people is the most important thing.
Oh yeah.
It's like from there,
It helped.
You don't know what you're doing, but the right people
Yeah.
are gonna. Hey, we need to go this way. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, one of our earliest and brightest employees was Maria Pizzana, who passed away a couple years ago. She came from a more corporate, structured office instead of just three guys. All my payables were just stacked up on my desk, waiting for the money to come in.
Yeah.
And she made us much more structured and organized as an office.
Yeah.
And then the salesman that came from the said company, same company, he was one of the guys that got us into more corporate stores. Got us in the door.
Awesome. Yeah, and so you're doing bigger corporate stores. Now you're getting a little private label.
We're getting a little private label. We're doing the trade shows now because the Sweet and Snack Expo, which used to be called the All Candy Expo, was always based in Chicago. First at Navy Pier, then it grew to McCormick Place. So we started doing trade shows and getting our name out there, our family name out there as a local distributor, which wasn't a lot of people at the show for that, but more on a national level, so people could see what our capabilities are.
Awesome. And I bet, I know,
instead of us showing our own brands, we're like, okay, we're showing what we can do for you for your brand.
I mean, I bet that was great.
Yeah.
Going there, you probably know everyone nowadays.
Not my end. My brother does because that's more his end of the business. He goes to that trade show and he knows all the players in that realm. But me, I'm at the local corner store.
The local Chicago native.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. That's awesome. I love that. And so you guys are growing, obviously. Mid 90s. Kind of walk me through. Late 90s.
Late
early
90s.
2000s.
Same thing. Before we got here, we weren't involved in any manufacturing per se. We were still just bagging and assembling. We're making the Valentine cups, like I said, stuff like that. So we're just organically growing locally, word of mouth and just hitting the streets from the 4 or 5 county area. You know, and then whatever private label came our way. You know, the first one was good because it was a lot of large chains down in Texas. You know, we were doing the people who ran the brand were based out of Chicago, but the brand we were making was for all these chains, grocery store chains down in Texas, which was a good start for us and a good learning curve for us.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know from that, and that was probably the last brand we were doing at that place. But then, 2004, I was out training a driver one day, and my brothers called me up, hey, we think we found a spot. Stopped what I was doing, we came into this particular building.
Wow.
You know, 2 floors, offices, 25-ish thousand square feet.
Wow.
And I walked in the door, I'm like, how are we ever going to fill this place? How are we going to fill this place?
Yeah.
Because it's
huge.
way bigger than what we came from, and going to be way more efficient for us.
Yeah.
It was close to the city because we were still sending all our trucks into the city and the suburbs or right by the expressways. It was a very good, convenient location for us, but we had to figure out how to pay for it.
Yeah.
So we all borrowed a lot of money to. I borrowed against my house to put down on this particular building.
Wow.
Our first house. I don't think the wife was too happy about that, but it worked. And then got the packaging machinery up and running here. That was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, was move a business.
Wow.
You know, from a couple miles away to this particular facility while it's still operating.
Yeah.
You know, so we still need to have inventory over there, but we need to get this set up so whatever that day is set, we can start working out of here. That was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
Wow. Yeah, especially because it's like, hey, you're not distributing my candy on every Tuesday. Okay, I'm going to a new person. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a relationship oriented, and yeah, that must have been a lot of fun.
It was hard. Backbreaking.
Yeah.
Backbreaking. But we made it work.
Yeah.
But it got a little tight here for a while. We might have bit off more than we could chew at first.
Yeah. So you got in here, borrowed against your house, you know, kind of put all your chips on the table. Yeah. I love it though, you know.
But it was a nice, new, exciting adventure because growing that's a fire in your belly that it feels good all the time.
Yeah.
It always feels good to be growing, expanding, and moving on to new things. And you got to have that if you're self-employed. You can't just show up and be part of the, you know, it's a routine every day. You can't have that.
Yeah, no, that's what I love, you know, about like entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It's just like they're working for themselves. You know, when they take their time off, they can be off, but you know, no one's gonna pay the bills if you know you're not working and busting your ass every day. So early 2000s now, you're in a new building, doing packaging, got a new machine, figuring that all out. Obviously, growing a bunch. Like, would love to learn a little bit about, like, you know, becoming more, like, obviously family business, but still corporate, though.
Yeah.
You know, like...
It still stayed small family. I mean, my dad was still around. He was hitting the streets for us. We were still more focused on that, you know, the local stuff, at least my father and myself. And then we're here, and then my brother was the one we need to start manufacturing. You know, my brother Greg, he's like, so we initially did cotton candy or peanut brittle. I can't remember. We got in the cotton candy business.
Yeah.
So we started making that. Did really well locally, but very labor intense. Very labor intense.
Makes sense.
And then the way it was being packed, a lot of stale shrinkage. Cotton candy doesn't like humidity, and there's some things we didn't master about it. But we went all in. Did well with it for a while, and then I'm not sure if this timeline is right. Then we got into peanut brittle. So that's initially what got us into, you know, those two things. And the peanut brittle is what sustains us today. I don't know if I have any initial bars over here.
Oh, the initial?
Yeah, the earlier ones, they might be downstairs.
Yeah,
we started making, because we were selling peanut brittle before. I'm like, we could do this ourselves. Yeah, I don't see anyone around here. Sorry.
No worries.
Most people probably don't stand up in your podcast.
Most of them, this is like my first one in person. I think they're way better, you know, rather than like talking on a camera or a screen.
I can look at it once in a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got into manufacturing peanut brittles and selling it still through local channels on our own trucks, through our own fleet of vans and our own salespeople and stuff like that. We weren't doing anything on a national level, but we were trying to expose people to that at the trade shows.
How do you even like learn how to manufacture peanut brittle? Like that's
I
crazy.
didn't learn how to do anything. I had to learn how to sell it, you know.
Yeah.
But well, I already did because we were selling other people's peanut brittle at the time.
Yeah.
But my brothers would work on batches at home.
Wow.
They were trying to figure it out at home. In fact, they still do some of that now. Get the concept of what we're going to do from home. But yeah, my brother, I think Ken, tried making his first batch of that or taffy or caramel. I think it's caramel, but it turned into a paperweight. It was like a solid rock. And somebody accidentally threw it out because I wanted to save it. But the initial packaging we had, he wrote batch number like 37 on there.
Yeah.
You know, like WD-40. That's the 40th time they made that.
Yeah.
And made it work.
Yeah.
You know, so he wrote the batch number with his signature on our initial packaging till we got the formula right.
Awesome.
You know, I don't think we were using Google or anything like that to find how to make this stuff. It was all just at home.
Mad science experiment.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So
And that was just a standard, run-of-the-mill, regular peanut brittle. No other flavors and all that stuff like we do now.
interesting.
So we were just making bars at the time, just like a candy bar size peanut brittle.
Okay, cool. So now it's early 2000s. You know, you have the peanut brittle. You know, you're in the new building. Like, would love to kind of hear a little more where you guys are kind of trying to take it, and like, who's obviously it's a family business as well. Like, who kind of like takes leadership? Obviously, your dad's, you know, your dad. But like, you know, how do you kind of work around those dynamics?
My dad was, because of where he came from, was pretty much solely focused on the selling in the inner city,
Yeah.
which is what he knew, and that's basically where I came from. So that's what I stuck with. So he would be overseeing all the sales. We brought in sales people and managers and stuff over the years, but that was his focus. And my brother Greg was the one that got into the more corporate stuff. He was overseeing our chain accounts and developing plans for them. So he's the one that got us to a different level of customer, and then wanted us to get more into the manufacturing end. And I still stayed overseeing the old part of the company.
Cool. That's
And then more opportunities would come our way. I mean, we literally just updated our website like a year and a half ago. I mean, it was showing products on there we haven't made in 10 years, designs we don't have anymore. But at some point, it didn't matter because people were searching for somebody to do the work.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't promoting our brand. We kind of are, but we were promoting our capabilities. So we've been able to score plenty of jobs and customers over the years by people hunting down our old website, and then my brothers explaining them what we could do for them in their brands. And then now we have our own brands in those same channels.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Do it in house rather than
Yeah.
own the relationship with the customer rather than you know doing it for someone else.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. Okay, so it's now like early 2000s. Like, more and more opportunities are presenting themselves. Like, where are you guys kind of going in now? You got the peanut brittle. You know, getting into private label. Like,
Still this same course.
yeah,
But then we're older now, so we're all having kids.
yeah,
You know, so that changed, things. And I'm not as available to work on Saturdays like I used to.
yeah.
Because I remember my wife saying, "You got to quit going in on Saturdays." You got soccer here, whatever, Girl Scouts or whatever comes about. So yeah, I couldn't I didn't come in on work
as much.
put as many hours in as I used to. But it was still the status quo, working around Chicagoland, and then things would piecemeal come in the private label end. And then it was probably closer to 2010 when things started breaking out for us with more private label. But our industry was changing too. I mean, you couldn't do 2 for $1 candy anymore, so we had to convert to larger bags of 99 cents. So we had to navigate, the local distribution right next to the national stuff we were trying to get into at the same time.
Yeah, that must be a really hard dynamic of, like I said, you have to serve your customers, but also you want to, hey, this is where we can take you.
Yeah.
We want to show you everything.
Well, yeah, my brother's focused on the national end because there's things that we've done for customers over the years that we can't sell in the Chicago market. They're just not into it, and vice versa. So as long as we can divide and conquer, it's worked out well. Where he can run the national stuff and then I could oversee the legacy part of the business, which is the local,
Yeah.
all the local stuff. And they do intertwine. We do have programs where we're we're picking and pulling orders. We're holding inventory, so we run that stuff out of my side and the warehousing end.
Interesting. Cool. So now it's 2010s. You're working a little less still. All the time. What are you guys getting into the private label side of things?
Sometimes it's a weird job. There's a lot of people out there. They don't want to manufacture anything. They just want to market, or they have these ideas. So then they hunt people like us down, and it could be a one-off job, for one customer, for one time, or for one promotion, But what we're looking for is the sustaining. This is part of their program, everyday program, that they're going to have these 12 SKUs in all 1,200 of their stores year round.
Yeah.
That's what we've evolved to now. Is that.
Any good promotional products where you're like, hey, this is really random, weird?
We actually did one like that this year for a charity that wanted to pass out candy to every prisoner in the state of Texas.
Wow.
So somebody put us in contact with that charity in contact with us.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many prisoners there are in the state of Texas when you saw how big this order was. I was like, whoa, because I was actually helping. We were so busy this fall, knock on wood, that I had to help help them get that order ready, because they were bagging it and they were individualizing each order for every detention facility. Wow. Some of them were rather big, needed pallets of this stuff, and other ones needed small boxes.
Wow.
But there's a lot of prisoners in Texas. There's a lot.
That's
so that's a one-off job.
Yeah.
We have another one for next year already lined up. It's a one-off job, packaging gumballs. Lots of gumballs. More gumballs than I've ever seen in my life.
Where do you even get gumballs?
There's a few different manufacturers.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it
still stateside?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some of them might be Canada.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That's cool. Do you ever get to go to any candy factories?
I've been to quite a few over the years.
Cool.
I've been to the Ferrara factory. I went to Fannie Mae when they closed down because they were auctioning stuff off.
Oh, wow.
Thompson Chocolates, Jelly Belly, locally and in the West Coast.
Yeah.
Zachary Confections in Indiana. Quite a few. Brock's, back when it was still here. Quite a few.
Cool.
Quite a few.
That's awesome. I bet it's amazing. You see this stuff on the store shelves, but we were walking through the factory earlier, and I'm just like, holy crap!
Yeah.
It's really actually amazing.
Maybe in general, people don't realize that it might say that grocery store's brand on it, but it's not them bagging it or making it.
Yeah.
It could be cookies, it could be soda pop or candy. There's always somebody else doing it.
Yeah, no,
like us.
Yeah, no, exactly.
People like us, and in
it's
various industries.
It's so cool that too. It's just getting older. I feel like it's you find out businesses about this. They didn't want to do it, but you're gonna do it, and you're gonna make it a great business.
And then we don't we do trade shows. We don't really broadcast that because those customers might want people to know where their stuff is being sourced.
Yeah,
but we have to promote our ability to do that at trade shows.
Yeah. Is that do you have to sign NDAs and stuff for them?
My brother on his end he does because he's the one dealing with them. There's a lot of that.
Makes sense.
There's a lot of that. Yes. Depending on whatever they're putting together.
Competition.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
That's cool. That's awesome. Cool. So now it's 2010s. Business is growing. What are you guys getting more into? Still private label, distribution?
It's still the same thing.
Really?
It's 2010s. The bigger change was COVID. That's when things really changed.
Yeah.
If you want to jump that far ahead.
Yeah, let's get into it.
There was a couple different parts of that changed. The local distribution end of mine was going crazy because the supermarkets were just packed. But our private label end, or work we were doing, some of those customers were closed. So we had a wall. I remember seeing a wall of product already made sitting there, and it's expiring as the days go on.
Wow.
Because those stores were not open, but the supermarkets were open. So locally it was nonstop servicing all our local business. But after coming outside of COVID, was more opportunities just started coming our way. I don't know what opened those floodgates. but all of a sudden we just seen such an increase of people looking for private label partners.
Okay.
And that's what's taken us to here with our own brands now being in that space.
Yeah.
And that's where the biggest part of our growth is, probably our own brands in those same stores now instead of doing it for somebody else.
Cool. That's awesome. And so COVID, would love to kind of double touch on that. Obviously, like, you know, with the shutdowns and everything, you're busy still. You're running a business, you know. You can never shut down.
We did not shut down. I mean, I remember following it as everybody did, and making sure all our employees knew that they were still coming into work every day.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of industries didn't.
I mean, definitely good for the employees.
I mean, we had to shut down production to some extent because they're not doing as much of the other private label stuff or stuff that was going to non-supermarkets that were closed, like the large discounters. You know, they were all closed, and that was a good portion of our business then too.
Yeah.
So,
did the business take a hit overall, or was it kind of like
COVID during COVID?
COVID? No.
No, we came out of it stronger.
Oh, wow.
We came out of it much stronger, luckily, on both ends.
Awesome.
On both ends of the business.
That's great. And so then you saw more opportunities in the private label space. Did you end up ever making, like, I know you kind of said you had the peanut brittle, and were making it for other people. When did you kind of decide to do it yourself?
Well, we were making it for ourselves initially,
Okay.
and then there was another brand that came out, a gas station type chain, so we're making theirs. But it wasn't until we got our product into our brand being represented into these large discounters that grew our brand into those places.
Okay.
Old person been in the industry for a long time. I think that's how it worked. He contacted my brother. He wanted to represent us and put these programs together for these large discount chains, which we were packaging for somebody else at the time, but different items.
Okay.
But evolved into us just dealing with those chains with our own brands.
Interesting, cool. And I know something I kind of wanted to touch back on is the acquisition of Windy City Popcorn.
Oh, the popcorn. Yeah, I forgot about
I know that was like 2010. Right?
Yeah, I forgot about 2010 or so. Right about then. Yeah, we got a phone call out of the Clear Blue. My dad did from a gentleman who was looking to unload this popcorn company that he had borrowed money to. So he was the lender looking to get some of his money back. We were familiar with the brand, and we had even prior to that wanted to get into the popcorn business. We wanted to get into salty snacks. So we all stopped what we were doing and drove over to this factory, which is very small and empty. They literally had nothing. They ran it into the ground. All they had was some machinery and a brand. Found out later from the employees they were literally running to like supermarkets and Costco to go buy supplies to make a batch every day.
Wow.
And then, but we knew we could grow the brand, so we rounded up some money to buy what was there, and get it going. And we knew where to source some of the stuff, but they burnt bridges with some of their suppliers so bad that we couldn't get the stuff without prepaying for it, or they wanted letters of guarantee. I can't remember.
Yeah.
We couldn't get the cheese that they were using because they wouldn't supply them anymore because they had
sour.
They went sour with that company, and we're like, we're not the same people. This is us. We're new.
Yeah.
We got it. We kept one or two of three of their employees, the old owner, and then like about 3 employees. Because now all of a sudden we're running 2 plants, and a couple of employees knew how to run the popcorn machinery, which we had to learn how to do.
Yeah.
But we already had the distribution for it, which we knew we can get it everywhere. Because I remember going there with one of our trucks one day, and they're cranking out popcorn as fast as they can make it. And I'm showing up with one of our bigger trucks at the time, putting pallets on. He's like, "Where's this all going?" The old owner. I'm like, "This stuff's already sold. I need more.
Yeah.
Just keep making it. Keep making it." So we brought efficiency to it right away, to the popcorn business, and but having a customer base for it already, because my sales crew can go out there and put a case in in 1,000 stores in like a week or two. So we got it out there fast, very fast.
That's cool, and that's awesome. And I guess so. You bought as like a distressed asset buy, and
Basically, yes. There was nothing left. The only thing we really have left from that company is one of the conveyors in the back, and one of the employees is still with us.
Nice.
One of the employees is still with us. But prior to that, I forgot, we bought out the assets of another smaller candy bagging company.
Oh wow.
More so to get their one employee and take that off the market so nobody else could get in the same space as us. So we just bought the equipment and shut that place down.
That's cool.
A small candy bagger.
You
in the
think
city.
both of those like acquisitions beneficial for your company?
Yeah. The one salesman from that company is still with us. We
Wow.
have none of the machinery anymore, but the one salesman, and he opened up a lot of doors for us. He was basically our competitor, and that was maybe 20 years ago.
Wow.
Ish.
Yeah.
That we did that, maybe less. So yeah, between the popcorn and buying out that other company, two different levels. One at the both at the local level, but it got us more into manufacturing with the popcorn.
Cool. And it's Windy City. Is that still around?
We're evolving that brand into just under the Taylor's umbrella now.
Okay.
But higher end stuff, more like sea salt, cashew and stuff like that, instead of just cheese and caramel mix and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's got rolled under the Taylor's umbrella now.
That's cool. That's awesome. Cool. And so now, post-COVID, you're getting into, more of the private label stuff. This is going fantastic. Doing the distribution and everything. Would love, your role, kind of how that has evolved. And what's your employee scale for size as well at this time? Let's say 2022.
It's probably similar to what it is now. I think we're pushing 40, 45. A little more seasonal around the Christmas time.
Yeah.
And some of that's because our kids would come home and want to work.
Yeah.
My son, who has worked for me off and on over the years when he comes back from school. And then now the other nephew and niece come back and work. So, and then some of their friends. Yeah. Because we're busy, pretty much from the end of July through like November.
Yeah.
So that fluctuates a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where else to go from there.
Yeah, I mean, no, totally. I guess just interested in you've been doing it for 2022. It's 32 years.
Yeah,
30 years in the business. Your role within the company, kind of how that's evolved, and
I started out mostly on, like I said earlier, the delivery end.
Yeah,
and the warehousing end. I initially didn't like the sales part of it. I liked all the delivery and the warehousing end part, but I had to grow into the sales part, and then brought other people in to take that role, run our routes. I still have to oversee that, but I also have other people helping me oversee that on that end. So, I've stayed on that end of the business totally. I'd like to dabble in this part, and make sure I know what's going on this end of the business, because it's grown so much, but there's just too much. Yeah, no more than I expect my brothers to know everything I got going on. Yeah, you concentrate on what you do best, and I'll concentrate on what I can do best. At least try to.
Yeah, expertise is the most important.
Yeah,
you guys
but,
are all.
Yeah, but I mean, we still know what's going on in each other's worlds. But don't step on each other's toes.
Yeah, as long as the wheels are turning.
Yeah.
And, the lights stay on, everything.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully they're staying on.
Yeah, awesome. So now you guys are getting more into your own brand. Obviously,
our own brand, and there's been hits and misses on that on the national level.
What's the best so far?
It's been the peanut brittle by far. It's been the peanut brittle because it's so unique. My brother came out with these tins last year, and that's been the major part of our growth. Different flavors. All the tins are similar style, just different flavors. In different, mostly large discount chains. Yeah. In a national level. That's separated us because there's not too many people out there doing that. It's so labor intense. It's all done by hand. Yeah. Except for the bagging, obviously.
Is it hard to get employees nowadays post COVID?
This is the easiest time I've had in 35 years.
Wow.
COVID was awful. Awful. Yeah. I mean, on my end of the business, the local distribution, couldn't bring in enough people that would stay to do the job, to service. We did great during COVID. We would have done even better if I would have had more employees. Because my local sales crew would go see their accounts, and a week later they go back, and I still hadn't, their order still hadn't been shipped because I had nobody to do it. Wow. We'd have a fleet of trucks there, and maybe two of them would go out. Yeah. But it's gotten bad. It's the best. I got a great crew now that's been with me for years, much more engaged than some previous ones. Yeah. And they've contributed a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So it's been much easier.
Yeah, the right people, is really what can take you everywhere. So now you guys are growing your brand. Where are you guys kind of seeing the most like growth? Is it more private label stuff, and also too would love like a kind of like a revenue split where it's like, is it like 30% distribution? Like where does that kind of split?
That's grown. That's evolved so much. It's probably, I'm gonna guess it's probably 60-40 now, where the manufacturing end is overtaking the distribution end.
Wow.
I don't know those exact numbers. I actually will probably going over that stuff this week so I can get ready for this coming year for insurance purposes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's the growth. The growth of the company is going to be from that. My space has had more competition in it than it's seen since we started. And there's more people coming into our space locally than there's ever been, from our salty snacks that we distribute to all our candy brands.
Yeah.
It's so our niche, and luckily since we've been around so long on the local distribution end, we're already in the big boy space. We're already in the supermarkets, those big chains.
Yeah.
So that's been more growth for us than all the independents. Because and we've been able to, since I've had a good employee base, we've been able to expand how far we're going to go for our local distribution. We're going farther than we've ever had with that space that has cut off times for deliveries. So I got to get from here to Niles and hit 4 stores in that time frame.
Yeah.
Before 9:30.
Yeah.
I have that employee base where I could do that now, whereas a few years ago I didn't.
Yeah, you're able to count on make sure that hey, this product's here. We're making sure our customers are happy.
Yep.
And I know you guys have also expanded. You were saying Boston, all of North America.
But
now.
that's through the private label or
Okay.
the manufacturing end of the business, not my end. Those discounters, those pallets get sent off to their own warehouses, and then they send it through their network. So it's going out the back door in truckloads to whatever various warehouses they're going to send it to.
Yeah.
Because all those orders are made specifically for that particular warehouse. So their trucking companies or logistics companies separate that for them.
Yeah, I bet
and it works its way from here to that discount chain and discount retailer in downtown Boston probably within a week.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. The supply chain behind it. I mean, that's your
hopefully
world.
Some of my stuff will be on my son's supply chain now.
yeah, that would be awesome. Get the inside connection.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. I mean, so would love to just like where are you kind of thinking you're taking the company now? I know your
where we're going to go from here.
Yeah.
It's going to be on the manufacturing end. There's been talk amongst my brothers to move some of the manufacturing over to the other building, which has space available, to make it a larger manufacturing space, just for the peanut brittle production. I'm assuming they would move popcorn over there too, but I'm not sure. But now you got to manage manufacturing in 2 different locations next to each other, and some of the stuff would be sourced from this building and that building. So I'm going to let them make that decision, because if it's easier just to store goods across there than it is to have employees go back and forth and product go back and forth.
Yeah.
So that's a decision they're going to make, because we're already gearing up for that for next year. If depending on how the pre-sale goes for all this stuff.
Yeah.
Which should be going on now.
Cool.
For next year.
That's
for
awesome.
Christmas.
And I would love also just to kind of hear, like, for our audience, just, your 2 brothers are obviously in the business. It's like kind of that dynamic, that family decision making. I know we were talking a little bit about it before, but like it's just like so unique, with the family business.
But I mean, like I said earlier on, I found that attractive early on, working for a family business, and when we got into all this, we all lived together. We were thick as thieves. We were always together, always around, working together, playing together. All 4 of us. But things evolved over the years. Relationships evolved. We're still all here, which most family businesses may not last that long. I don't know. But we're not as thick as thieves like we used to be.
Yeah.
But we're still a family. And making a go at it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And my father's no longer with us. He passed away a little over 4 years ago.
Yeah,
in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, I bet he's happy looking down at all this peanut brittle, and like I said, it's just
I still see people, our customers that remember him from the 70s and 80s.
yeah,
They still bring up my father.
yeah,
But that being said, I was working the streets a lot. We had my father pass away and one of our salesmen pass away, like within about a year of each other. Wow. So I spent a good year plus letting everybody know what happened to these two people because they'd be asking about them. It was hard. It was kind of depressing going in these people who've known these people for so many years and having to explain to them they're not with us anymore.
Yeah, that's really tough. And like I said, like especially those local relationships, it's like you've grown up with them, you've seen their kids get married.
Yeah,
and,
my father knew these families, he knew these kids.
Yeah,
he went to their weddings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
and that's the advantage too of like local family business rather than a big corporate where it's like, okay, we're getting a new person and plug and chug.
No, it still happens here, but it's more personable because my office is open. Everybody can come and see me whenever they want.
Yeah,
whenever they want.
And I feel like that's personally for me, a lot of people nowadays post COVID are missing that. Like, hey, familial. I know these people. I can actually tell you something about their life. That's where I see a company like yours.
Yeah, we're not really doing work from home type stuff. My brother does that at his level with Zoom and calls or whatever, team meetings and stuff like that. I don't know from that. I'm more in person with the employees and the customers.
Yeah. No, definitely. That's great. I guess so. Kind of wrapping up here. I think would love kind of my podcast. My favorite podcast that I listen to is How I Built This.
Okay.
So it's interviewing entrepreneurs, and one of the questions they always ask is, like you built a beautiful business. 35 years.
35 years.
35 years.
Not by myself. I'm one.
one piece of the puzzle.
Yes, I'm one piece. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Hey, you're a utility knife. You're a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Might not be the best, but hey, there's a lot of options.
So, on that note, I was given a book by a friend I stood up at his wedding a long time ago. I don't remember the name of it. It's all about businessmen from the early 1900s, Ford, Rockefeller, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one of the stories in that book, I think Henry Ford was getting sued for some reason. Mm-hmm. And during the trial, the lawyer's asking him, well, how do you do this and how do you do that? And he's like, I don't know how to do that. And the lawyer's like, well, how come you don't know how to do that? And he's like, I don't need to. See, I have a phone on my desk that has like 24 buttons on it.
Yeah. I
can hit that button and I have the right person who knows how to do that.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to be like that.
100%.
Yeah.
Having that,
So I don't need to know how to do everything.
Yeah. Like I said, you got your expertise and, your brother is, kind of doing that strategy, growth, and, just staying in your lane. But yeah, no, I think that's great. And yeah, I guess like I said, you build a great business, started just you and your dad pretty much figuring it out. Now, you have 40 employees, you're, national product, international too, right?
We've had some stuff go to Europe and Canada.
Super cool to think about that. But, how much of, the success of Taylor's Candy would you say was, due to luck? And how much would you say, was just through the, hey, I'm working 7 days a week, putting my head down?
That was the early part.
Yeah.
Putting our head down and just getting it done. Going in on Saturdays and putting in 12-hour days. The sacrifice for my particular family, my wife worked nights. So I would put in my 10 hours and she'd go in at, 5, 6 o'clock and work nights. So we could take care of the kids. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, the early days it was the grind, being able to do it. And then the luck came later. People finding us like, hey, we need this work done.
Yeah.
That was, and then word got out there that we could do this for other people.
Yeah. And just proving yourself and, making it. And I guess one last question, like, what energizes you for 2026 and like kind of goals or just future life plans?
2026. I've already sat down with some of our local to discuss some of our local goals with my sales manager actually last week. So we're going to work towards that on a local level. There's more chains that we don't have. We're going to go after the competition a little stronger with a product line that we're not really trying to push, but we need to do that to fight them off. And then whatever we need to do to make the manufacturing end grow, and then work with them more on that.
Awesome.
You know, if we have to move things around, we have a ton of space being unused across the street. There's office up front, so if we do move manufacturing over there, I'd like to talk to my brothers about maybe opening up retail store again, since we have all this stuff, and then maybe turning all this stuff into a museum, to something to draw some people in.
Yeah, no, that'd actually be super cool.
Yep, we'll see. But I have to talk. I'll talk to them, see what their thoughts are.
Especially super niche, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's beautiful, and you know this stuff's only going to get more and more
Old.
Yeah, priceless
and dusty.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you know, really enjoyed our conversation, and you know,
Thanks for having me, Jack.
Thanks so much.
Hopefully, I informed you and your viewers.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks so much, and yeah, we'll wrap it here.
That's my conversation with Doug Taylor, the Candyman. I appreciate Doug taking the time to sit down in person and walk through what it really takes to run a business like this day to day. If you enjoyed this episode of The Making of, do me a quick favor. Leave a 5-star review wherever you listen. It goes a long way in helping the show grow. I'm Jack Pitts. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.